It's been about a month and a half since I graduated with my statistics degree, and about a month since I started as a full-time data analyst. And from that month of experience, I've learned a few lessons that will help you get a data analyst job in the future. Now, what I realized after this first month of becoming a data analyst is that you're going to be using SQL all the time. I would say within the first 30 days that I've worked as a data analyst, about 90% of those days I was using SQL. And at first, I had very little knowledge of SQL. I had used it in one class for maybe a couple of weeks, but that was all the experience I had. So I kind of had to learn from scratch. In the past month, I became pretty well acquainted with it. But if you can learn that in school and say right in your job interview that you know how to use SQL, you're really going to separate yourself. Now, I'm not too sure how you would learn this on your own, but I'm sure there's plenty of resources here on YouTube where you can learn how to use SQL. But if you want to be a data analyst, I would highly, highly recommend trying to learn it on your own. And to me, the hardest part about SQL isn't the actual syntax or what you're doing, because if you've used Excel or used R and you've manipulated data in the past, everything's going to be along the same lines. Now, syntax definitely is different and you need to learn that, but I think that's the easiest part. The hardest part about learning SQL is really more job specific, and that's understanding where different types of data sit in your organization or wherever you're going to be working, and how you can pull all of those together and morph them into one and make new variables and actually get valuable insights from that data. I mean, that is what a data analyst does, I suppose. But the second thing, and somewhat along the lines of the first one, is problem solving. Now, I would hope as you're going through college, you're learning a lot about problem solving in the various classes that you're taking. But to me, problem solving is a little bit different. Sometimes as a data analyst, you're going to have your managers or your stakeholders ask a specific business problem that they have or a specific finding that they want to find out. Your job as a data analyst is taking this objective or this business problem that you were given and breaking that down into different steps that you know how to solve. Now, on top of this, you're also going to need to understand the little things about this problem that might make it more difficult to solve. For example, the problem they're asking you to solve, you might not have a super quick or easy way to solve that. You might need to join two tables. You might need to exclude some data because it just doesn't make sense to include them in your analysis. That's the type of problem solving that I'm talking about. But the way I think you can learn this while you're in college is find different data sets on the internet that are free to use and ask yourself specific problems about that data or specific objectives that you want to find and figure out how to solve them on your own. If you can bring that up on an interview or put that on your resume, that actually shows a lot more than just saying, yeah, I got an A in this class. Because that doesn't mean too much because you're given kind of clear objectives and clear goals in classes in college. And I think that if you can say that you went out on your own and you came up with a business problem or a problem that you were trying to solve, you found the data sets for it, and you figured out a solution to that problem on your own, that shows so much more ability to learn than just getting an A in a class. And somewhat along the same lines, again, is the third one, which is you have to be quick to learn new techniques in software. The first thing I realized as I started full-time at this company that I was working at is that they use so many different softwares and different techniques for different things. And sometimes they even use multiple softwares to accomplish the same thing. So for example, at my organization, one team might be using R, one team might be using SAS, and another team might be using Python. And sometimes you have to take things from other teams that they've done in the past so that it saves you a little bit of time and figure out how to translate that into a different language. This is something that I've already had to do a few times, is take things from SAS, which I don't have a ton of familiarity with, and turn that into R code or turn that into Python code. So if you have the ability to take things from one language or one software or one technique and translate that into how it can solve a problem for you, that's going to be a big plus. And I think so by using a bunch of different softwares in college and trying to combine that knowledge into one knowledge base or database in your head that you can pull from and extract from and show that on your resume or in your interview, you're going to have a leg up on the competition and getting a data analyst job. And now finally, the weird thing that I noticed about being a data analyst is that you're not using a ton of math or statistics. So for me as a statistics major, that was kind of weird to find out. But a lot about what I learned about being a data analyst is the majority of your job is problem solving and cleaning data and figuring out which data you need. Now, there is definitely some statistics and math that goes into your actual analysis, but your actual analysis is going to be a lot smaller of a percentage of your job than those other things. So if you're in college and you're stressing about your math classes and you're stressing about your statistics classes and you want to be a data analyst, I wouldn't worry too much about that. But it is important to understand because once you get to that analysis, you actually have to take all that work you've done up to that point and turn that into real analysis, real math, and real insights for your company. But if you really want to become a data analyst, you have to watch this video next because that's going to give you a good grounding and get you a leg up on your competition. So I'll see you over there.